I look as bad on that camera as I do in my own eyes, because I think I look pretty bad. Okay, so here's the deal. It's 6:30 in the morning on August 31st, and I've got to make it 200 miles down to Malibu, where I'll begin hiking. Could take a few hours, might not get there till after 9. Let's see how that goes. Okay, so I've made it to Malibu Canyon State Park. Is the name right, Ken? I've forgotten the name already. What do you know? And I just pulled up into the park. It's been a long morning. It's 10 o'clock already. I was on the road for about 4 hours, fighting a lot of traffic. A lot of traffic. I'm putting on my gloves, getting ready to hike. You know you're in the right place because those hills, you can't mistake them. They're those iconic hills from MASH. I watched MASH a lot growing up. It was on the air up until about 1981 when I was 16, and then of course I saw the reruns, and I have all of the DVDs. I'm something of a fan, just a tiny bit. Man, this hat has been in storage for a little while. Ta-da! Okay, let's get on the road. Let's get on the trail. So, here is the map of the park we're at. We are here. We are going to go down to here. The problem is they don't really say how far any of that is. Okay, so we've reached the first signage pointing us in our direction. As you can see, the third listing down there has the MASH site at 2.3 miles. Now that 2.3 miles may explain why I've had such a hard time nailing down how long this trail is. Now I've read that this hike is anywhere from 1.5 miles to possibly 5 miles. Now that 5 miles wasn't specific. Actually, none of the sites that I've read have been all that specific. So I was fully prepared to say hike 10 miles because I didn't know if it was 5 out, 5 back. But now we know how that 5-mile one, and by the way, of all the websites I looked at, only one of them said 5. But now we understand how that person came up with 5 miles. Whew. I've hiked all of 20 yards and I am fresh, plumb, completely out of breath. And having said that, this all feels incredibly familiar. I mean, look at those hills back there. Remind you of anything? I mean, if you're a fan of MASH, which I know dates me in an incredible way. But fuck it, man. I'm 52 years old. I'm dated. You can tell by the wrinkles and the gray. I am not a young pup. And so sorry if you thought I was. Anyway, finally got onto some actual non-paved surface. But it looks like a fire road. Whew. It is nice to get out. I've been in that car for more days than I please. It's nice to get out and walk, which is kind of opposite of conventional wisdom. It's about 75 or so degrees. I won't kid, it's a little warm. It's supposed to get up into the 80s, so my plan this morning was to get here by 9:30, hike it and get back before noon. Let's see how that turned out. I hit lots of traffic and got here at 10. Still not terrible. 10 o'clock, I mean, I'll take that. 2.5 mile hike, 5 miles total. I hike about 2 miles an hour. So I won't get back by noon and out of here by noon, but I may get out and get back and out of here by 1. So that's enough for me. Here's signage. Oh, there we go. 2.1 miles to the MASH site. I don't know if I can make it. That's like a day's hike. Bugs. Since I last spoke with you, or since I last spoke, it started to warm up. Malibu Canyon is a warm place, but not without its beauty. Even if it is a brown kind of beauty, by God, I love it. It's Southern California. Okay, just got to yet another sign which says that the MASH site is now 1.8 miles away. I gotta tell you, I am a little bit completely out of shape for this.
I just hiked up in Wrightwood, which is mountains, but something about these long, slow climbs, I don't know. And right now it is a long, slow climb into the hills with horse crap all over the trail. Yay! So, while we had a minute, I thought I would let you know that in case you're thinking that this is probably close to home, someplace that I could check out any old time, I should tell you that this is my very first time in Malibu Canyon, my first time at this park. And I've lived in Southern California my whole life. So it's just never really been on my list of things to do. Mostly because it's hot. Whew. It is a hot day. And I'm a hot person. And just a couple days ago it was cold. And that is fucking with my head. Having said that, one interesting thing about this trail, which is basically a fire road, is you could see where they would have filmed MASH on this road. Not the set, but the location shots. You could totally see it if you're familiar with the show, which you may not be. And if you aren't, what's wrong with you? My God, oh my God. Okay, time to come clean. I am not doing well. This heat has really wiped me out. And the worst thing is after that last sign that I showed you, wow, you can't see anything out there, it's so bright. Anyway, after that last sign that I showed you, there hasn't been any other signage. Except a little one that said MASH site was 6 miles away. I'm hoping that meant 0.6. The shade's nice when I can find it, but a great deal of this trail is exposed. Oh, here come some people. I'll ask them. So, I asked some people, and they said that the MASH site is literally around the corner that's coming up. So I'm gonna turn the camera around and we'll both see it together. How's that sound? Don't tell me all they have is this truck.
No, they got a sign. You know the famous sign?
Yeah, is it down that way?
That was my first time here.
Well, around this corner, we've got a tent, the remnants of a Jeep, and some other things. I feel ancient. Everybody else is walking around here like it's no big deal. And the heat has just sucked all the energy right out of me. So I'm gonna guess that must be the mess tent, though I doubt it because it's awful small. And of course, the sign, the famous sign. I gotta say, this is probably what I should have expected, but given the heat, I gotta say, I'm a little disappointed. So, the swamp would have been right over there. And the hospital right over there. I'm heading back. It was nice to be here. There was very little to see. You really do get the feel of the place and of the history just walking through here. It's fucking hot. I apologize if our visit was a bit perfunctory, but I promise you, I'm not feeling well. So, little MASH 4077 truck. Oh, hey, one last thing. I got about 2 miles to go still, and I just crossed paths with a young gentleman who asked if I had hiked all the way down to the lake, and I told him I actually hadn't seen a lake. I had only gone as far as the MASH site. And he said, "The MASH site? What's that?" I said, "You know, it's where they filmed the show." He didn't know which show. I said, "MASH." He didn't know about the show. He said, "Is that like on Netflix or something?" I said, "Well, it's probably on Netflix, but it was produced back in the 70s and 80s. And his eyes got really wide, and he said, "Oh, like a long time ago." And I was like, yeah, a long time ago. Oh, God, I can't wait till I get to my car. And that was about 2 months ago. And since then, I've been hiking, and I've been working. See, the thing that happened was I got, not sunstroke, but definitely some kind of sickness, some kind of sun sickness, really badly. And I barely made it back to my car. And then I got on the freeway for the rest of the drive home, and it was Friday, so there was plenty of traffic. See, at that time, I had a really good idea of what I was doing, of what I was about. I thought, I've got 3 titles coming out. And what I didn't know is that 2 of those 3 would end up getting junked in just a couple weeks because they weren't ready. Well, they weren't ready for anything. They were ideas for projects I should have scrapped at the very beginning of the phase of the project. So I went hiking, I went out, and I saw what was left of MASH 4077. And from that moment on, my life has been kind of weird. I was on jury duty for 3 weeks, just waiting for them to pick the jury. Things have been kind of crazy, and losing those 2 projects has really shifted the way I thought my year would work out. And in the absence of those 2 projects, I've started a new thing called DC Home, which you've probably seen here on my channel. DC Home is my opportunity to write one long story in individually wrapped packages, little bite-sized packages of one long ongoing story. And I've had such a great time since I started, and I can't wait to I can't wait for that helicopter to leave. I'm sitting here on my patio where tonight, October 30th, I'm going to camp out right down here. The problem with hiking or with backpacking in a family that has only one car is that you only have one car. And quite often you have to think in terms of the whole group, the whole family, and not just, I wanted to go camping. But I'm going to be camping out here tonight because I want to make sure that I can actually sleep outside. My biggest number one problem with camping, being able to sleep. And for the past couple months, I've been hiking out in the Chino Hills State Park. And you'll see a video from me in the next week or two from all of those hikes. The culmination of which was supposed to be a camping trip in Chino Hills State Park. But it's gonna be here. It's gonna be right here on my patio. If I can sleep here, well, let's hope I can sleep on the PCT, because by golly, I want to go in April. I guess we'll find out. I guess we'll see. Until then, thank you so much for joining me for what was a fantastic drive north-south across the country. I loved the fog in Oregon. I loved the drizzling rain in Washington. I loved the heat in Central California. I loved the mountains. It was a beautiful drive. If you get a chance, head out, go on the 395. It's beautiful. And then take the 101 all the way back through those lovely, sleepy little towns in Oregon. I just love them. So until the next video, go buy a book.
And there you have it. You've just survived another Ken LaSalle video. For more information about new releases, projects in the works, or even stuff from the archives, head on down to kenlasalle.com. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, and all around social media, just as long as it's called Facebook or Twitter. Thanks for your support, as always. Be sure to subscribe to this channel, and I'll be back soon with more nonsense.